Hey, shalom, shalom. Blessings and peace to all you who find this video. Hope your day is going well. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to make a video today. I'm talking about a video that Muhammad Kabeer had posted last night. A lot of it he's talking about me, so I kind of want to show you just all the lies that this man speaks. And you know, Kabeer, I'm genuinely concerned about your mental well-being. I really think that you should get a psychological evaluation, maybe see if you do have CTE, because the stuff that you say, especially about me, your version of reality is so far away from the true version of reality that I am actually concerned that you might not have the ears to hear anymore, honestly. But I'm gonna put this video on 1.5 speed. You know, Kabeer's a little bit slow, so kind of speed it up a little bit for you. And I'll just kind of break it down as he goes, and I'll tell you the truth of the story of everything that he talks about. Because the thing is Kabeer doesn't really know me. And Kabeer, somebody get this to Kabeer. Kabeer, you are a hypocrite. You will get upset at the fact that I'm making videos talking about you, or talking about Pastor Dowell, or talking about Straightway as a whole, even though you did the very same thing to the church that you were a part of before you got involved with Straightway. The one that helped your wife when she left you, all that. We've all heard and seen your videos. They're still up on your channel. Countless videos of you talking about your old spiritual leaders that were a part of your ministry. So you're going to correct me for doing it. I think you need to take a good long look in the mirror, bro, because you did the exact same thing. And you believe that you were wronged. And that's why you made the videos, right? Well, I know that I was wronged. I was wronged by you, the ministry. And so that's why I'm bringing out these videos. I'm trying to bring as much clarity and as much truth to the situation. And may Yah put a guard over my mouth that everything that I say in this video be true. In Jesus' name. Let's get started with the video.
And then I look at this new generation now. You have people who come into the ministry, right? They come in literally with nothing. I remember we had this one brother that he probably was there in the beginning with me. Came in here, he didn't have anything to offer. He came in, he was part of the ministry. I was a new brother, but eventually we started a community here at Straightway Truth Ministry called Straightway Praiseland.
All right. So Kabeer, you just said that when I came to Praiseland, I came in with nothing. Okay. Well, the thing is I had been a part of Straightway Truth Ministries for a few years before, we even moved in with Kabeer, right? I had lived with Deacon David. Then we had moved to live with Brother Joe. Deacon David got kicked out from Brother Joe. I decided to go with Deacon David. Deacon David ended up getting a severe car accident where he wasn't working and everything like that. So by the time that we had gotten to Straightway Praiseland, to say they came in here with nothing, it's you had to disregard, I guess, the last few years of everything what me and David had to go through. But it's a lie, because I did come there with stuff, right? I had a truck. When I showed up with the truck, I had a truck in my name, I had a laptop, had stuff like that, right? And maybe I didn't have like a huge monetary thing, to be able to give Kabeer when I first had moved in there. But I had definitely been paying my tithes leading up to this point. And, a lot of my money was going just to be able to help the saints that I was in underneath before I ended up with Kabeer, right? He's going to end up talking about, too, that these brothers came in here with no skills. And that's a lie, right? I remember when I first came into the ministry, I was living in Minnesota, and I was just working at a grocery store. And then when I moved in 2016 with Deacon David, I got a job working with tradesmen, and I started doing house wrap and windows in the middle of winter in Minnesota, carrying 36-foot ladders in the middle of snow, straight upright, having to set the windows. Probably the most dangerous job that I've ever done in my life, right? So I learned how to put house wrap on windows. I knew how to do set the windows and stuff like that. Did that for the whole winter. When we moved to Brother Joe's, Brother Joe had a landscaping company. So we learned how to do, the regular maintenance of landscaping, but also retaining walls. We built this beautiful walkway and stuff like that. I mean, David remembers. He's seen my work, what I was capable of that time. And then when he got kicked out with Joe, I had gotten a job at a granite place. And so what I was doing there is I was literally fabricating granite countertops. And then we would take the countertops, and if there was like a sink or a tub or what was the other thing that they specialized in? There was the granite. Oh, the cabinets. That's what it was. Sorry. So we go to the job site. We're installing cabinets. I'm installing granite countertops, fabricating them too, by the way. So to say that I came in with no skills, I had nothing to offer, right? That's a lie. Okay. That's why I say, like, Kabeer doesn't know me. Kabeer doesn't know my testimony really leading up to me even living with him. He really doesn't know. He's never taken the time to ask. Kabeer doesn't even know how Jesus came into my life. He really doesn't. A lot of you, a part of Straightway, don't even know. Most people have never asked me, a part of Straightway, how did you come to know Jesus Christ? Most of you don't even know my testimony. Because my testimony ain't, I stumbled upon a Pastor Dowell video and clicked on that. And that'll be for a different video, I guess. But let's continue.
Under the leadership of Pastor Dowell, Straightway Truth Ministry, he appointed myself and Deacon. At the time, we were just brothers. He appointed us as a community head. And Deacon at the time, Brother David, he was just second in command. And I was nervous, but Pastor Dowell took me under his wings. And anytime I had any questions about community stuff, Pastor just poured into me. When I go to the feast, I would spend time with him, learn from him, see what he's doing, ask him questions. Just the same thing, the same thing. Just now, we're talking about more in the spiritual realm. We're talking about more in the spiritual realm where Pastor always made himself available to this day. I mean, I've been with Pastor Dowell now for almost 9 years, and Pastor Dowell has made himself available. He's come out here. He's anybody that knows, I love Pastor Dowell. I'm so appreciative that I've got to know him, and to see the love that he has for the Most High Yah and the love he has for the saints. But anyway, but you see these people coming into the ministry, they come in with nothing. And I'm talking about under my watch now. This is just my community that I've been a part of. I can't speak for every other community. I can just speak for what I've done. But I've had people come into this community literally with no skills. And we create an environment for them to get the skills to build, to do plasterwork. When they first came in here, they came in, the best they could offer is working at the grocery store.
You see what I'm saying? He says the best that I had to offer was working at a grocery store, right? The reason why I started working at a grocery store is because that was the quickest job that I could find. I literally walked in, talked to the general manager, and got a job on the spot. And even after I quit there, just because of the way that I presented myself when I came in there, talked to the general manager of Festival Foods in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that woman still remembers me. I didn't even work with her. I worked the overnight shift. Never had another conversation with that woman. She said, okay, I'm going to put it through, we'll get your number and everything like that. But I made such an impression on that woman that she ended up, she still remembers my name. Whenever I seen her, she would say, I would say, hi, Sue. She'd say, hey, Jordan. Right? So for him to say that is just, bro, that's just the quickest job that I could get so we could start, making money, right? Anyways, let's go.
But working at the grocery store, they didn't have to worry about rent. They didn't have to worry about phone bills, medical bills. Everything was covered for. There's one particular brother, he came in here, his teeth was jacked up.
All right, he's about to get to my teeth, and I'll get to that shortly. But Straightway says this a lot. They say we gave them a place to stay. They didn't have to worry about a phone bill. They didn't have to worry about any medical bills or anything like that. Right? That's what they say. My question is this. If you were providing for my food and the housing and everything that I need, right? You're providing that. Why am I giving you my entire paycheck? Does that make sense? Because you say you're providing for those things. Then what are you using my money for? When I give you all of my money, what do you use my money for if it's not going towards my own necessities of life? And I lived in the world before I lived with Kabeer. I know how much it costs when you're a single brother, how much you eat and all that kind of stuff. Not that expensive. That's what's ridiculous. They want to say that out of the goodness of the heart, they did all these things. Dowell says the same thing. You know what I mean? We gave them a place. We gave them a house. We gave them all of this stuff, right? Well, what did they give you in return? That's the question. And if it is just the fact of you're just giving it to them, right? Then everybody a part of straightway. If you are on a community, do not give the money that you make from your job to your community head. Since they're providing for you a place to stay, they're giving you a phone bill, they're doing, whatever medical bills you have, they're going to cover that. The leader's going to cover that. But they're covering it. They don't need your money. What do they need your money for? So you keep your money. So that way, while you're there, you can actually grow financially. So that way, when you guys move on to a land, you got plenty of funds to be able to buy your own building material and build your own house. That's what I think should happen. If Kabeer's actually providing all these things for me, then why was I giving you my entire paycheck? Make that make sense.
A lot of pain. And I remember he went to his doctor, and the doctor told him, "You're gonna have to remove all your teeth, and you're just gonna have to have dentures." And I was thinking to myself, "Nah, that answer's not good enough for me. I know that there's something out there better." And I told this particular brother, I said, "Hey, go see my doctor, go see my dentist." And he went to go see my dentist, and the dentist says, "Hey, we can save it, but it's gonna cost a lot of money." And so I wanted to love my neighbor as I love myself. I said, "What would I do if that was my son, or what would I do if that was me?" And so, we forked out the $11,000 money to get his teeth fixed. Now, we did have a way for him to pay it back, but can you say he really paid it back? It's not like he had bills and anything like that. It was just that whatever he made from his job or whatever, that went towards, instead of him getting 10% of his paycheck that he earned from working at Walmart or whatever, 5% went towards paying that thing off. Just
Kabeer, this is hilarious of what you just said here. The fact that you just said that, did he really pay it off? Did he really pay the $10,000? I mean, he doesn't really have any bills. He doesn't really have any of this other stuff. We would just use 5% of whatever he was making and then put towards that. So, I mean, did he really pay it off? Right? Do you know how much money you have to make in order to pay off a $10,000 debt if you are putting 5% of what you make towards it? $200,000. 5% of $200,000 is what? $10,000. So you're telling me, Kabeer, that in the midst of that, the rest of that $200,000, which I know I paid my teeth off within 4 years. I think it was less than that. I think it was 3. You're telling me that what are you doing with the other 95% of what I'm giving you? $10,000 out of $200,000. Okay, so what are you using the other $190,000 for? You don't think that it's for rent? You don't think that it's for the bills of the house? The stuff that I'm consuming? I can 100% say that while I was at Praiseland, I never consumed more than I produced. I produced more than Kabeer has ever used the community funds on me. I can say that 100%. A boatload more. I have given Kabeer a boatload more money than he has ever given me. And he's going to turn it and he's going to spin it that he's all of a sudden the victim in this situation. This is sad. Do you want to know why my teeth actually ended up being as messed up as they were? Because I'll tell you, my teeth were not messed up until I joined Straightway Ministries. Did you know that? Bet you didn't know that. Never had teeth problems up until this point. Never had a cavity, anything like that. Never had to have work done on my teeth. Now, were they a little crooked? Yeah, they were. But not like terrible. It's just a little bit. I could probably find a picture where I'm smiling where you can see my teeth, right? I listened to Dowell and what he said, and I believe that I should follow his example, right? So when he used to say, well, when I first started, I was working 3 jobs. So you know what I was doing before I moved in with Deacon David? I was working 3 jobs. I was literally working 60 to 80 hours a week, and I was taking 2-hour naps in between my jobs 6 days a week. There were some times where I worked 36 hours straight and then go home. And so I'm eating all the random times. I'm drinking coffee all of the time. You brush your teeth, but then you're doing all this stuff. And it's like, that's why my teeth ended up having the problems that they did. And I started to notice it. But then I'm also hearing Dowell talk about, we don't go to doctors. We believe in Jesus and his healing and all that kind of stuff. All this stuff is pharmakia, is sorcery, right? Maybe I heard him wrong. Maybe me being new into the faith, you know, I have to hear all of his other videos. Maybe he elaborates on it more, that in certain situations it's good to go to the doctor, or what it says in Sirach chapter 38 to pray about it, seek the Most High, but then go to the physician because he's created that person. See, I didn't have anybody telling me to go to a dentist or that I need to go to the dentist until I went to Kabeer's place, because I was looking for healing. I had a few people before I even moved in with Kabeer lay hands on me. I was believing that Yah was just going to heal my teeth. Well, he was going to heal my teeth, but he needs to use the physician like what he said in Sirach 38. But at that point in time, I didn't know that, right? So the damage and stuff was already done. And then I appreciate being given a loan and for you recommending me to your dentist for me to get the work done. But don't be ungrateful, Kabeer, at the fact that I paid you back tenfold what you've given me. Where is your gratitude? Where is your appreciation for what I've brought in and how I've benefited not only you and your family, but also the rest of the saints that are at Praiseland? But that doesn't get talked about. Let's continue.
That's what happened. He paid it through that. But this is him having a roof over his head, food in his belly, medical expenses taken care of. Because we were just starting community at the time, so it wasn't even. It was a whole new thing. You know, it's like, wow, this is a. I mean, it's not like the community messed up his teeth. I mean, this man just had bad hygiene. You know, he didn't take care of himself, and so now he comes in here, and we help you to teach you how to take care of your teeth. You know, so he came into this ministry with nothing, but then left with. Now he got better teeth than he did when he came in, and I pride myself that when I go into a new environment, if I deal with somebody, that they're going to come out better than they left. And I can honestly say anyone that's ever been a part of Straight with Praiseland has always left better than they came in.
He can say this statement that everybody who came through Praiseland left better than they had come in. Well, it depends on what standard that you have. Are you going to say like, well, they grew in knowledge. They grew in spirituality. They grew in spiritual warfare understanding, right? And then take the credit as though it came from you, right? Didn't come from my private study with Yah, right? All my gifts and abilities, they didn't come from Yah. They came from you, right? You taught me how to do all those things. You taught me all the stuff about the word and deliverance and all that other kind of stuff, didn't you, Kabeer? No, you didn't. So stop lying, bro. Seriously. You stop lying. And to say that I came into the ministry with nothing, that ain't true. The first feast I went to, I slapped $2,000 in Pastor Dowell's hands. No, the first Passover I went to. So, and I didn't even put my name on it. He didn't even have a count of it. I never gave money to the ministry and put my name on it. I didn't want them to know. I just have it. I give it to somebody else to give to Pastor Dowell. No name on the envelope. Anyways, let's go.
I believe that. I believe it. Just like I came out better. Every program that I came out of, from Baldwin Hills to Crenshaw High School to San Diego State, I feel like I came out better. I came in not knowing much, and I came and learned something better to get me ready for the next chapter of my life. Another thing, the brother, he worked at the grocery store. Eventually, we came up with this idea, and it came from Pastor Dowell. Pastor Dowell talked about how he started getting into building. You know, he came from the military. He didn't know how to build, and so he used to go work for people for free. And even though he was working for free, but really he was acquiring skills on knowing how to build so he can go and build the community that we see today. And so I took that concept, you know. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I just take from other people's ideas. That's if you study great people, like Michael Jackson or Kobe Bryant, they always study the greats. Always study those who've gone before you. That's a recurring theme that I see from a lot of people who did great things in their industry, whatever that may be. And so I did the same thing. I studied Pastor Dowell. I studied the things that he did to get the community and say, okay, what can I do to make it better? So I took that concept, the blueprint that Pastor Dowell was doing. I took that, and then we got guys. We was able to get guys to start working for a company called Tradesmen.
Stop. Hold on a second. He wants to say that he got this idea that he got from Pastor Dowell, and then he told it to us, and that's the reason why we went from doing grocery stores to doing this other kind of stuff, right? That's what he says. Kabeer, I was learning building skills before you were even in the ministry. I was already doing it. So don't try to take credit that it came from you. It was already in my heart to do it, and I was already doing it. So to say, and then Tradesmen International, who told you about Tradesmen International? I was working for Tradesmen International in 2016. That's how, when I left working from my old boss, the plastering guy, I went back working with Tradesmen. You know, I was such a good worker with Tradesmen International. They would call me or text me all the time when I was at Praiseland, asking me if I was available because they had work and wanted me to come back and work for Tradesmen International. They did. That's why when I left working from the plastering company that I was at, I knew that I had a door in right for that. So Kabeer wants to take credit for this shit. Tradesman wasn't even your idea, dude. But you got to take credit. You got to take credit. Crazy.
Tradesman is like a temp agency for tradesmen, for guys that's in trade. And so they would go in there and get maybe minimum wage or whatever they would get paid. But it wasn't, in this case, the caveat what we did better is at least they got paid. But they were learning a trade while they got paid. But while they were doing that, they didn't have to worry about rent. They didn't have to worry about medical, food. All that stuff was taken care of because obviously me playing in the NFL, making a lot of money, I was able to house the Saints. And so they didn't have to worry about that. Even phones, everything was taken care of. Now,
Kabeer, taken care of by who? Was it your money that you made in the NFL that you were using to take care of the Saints' needs? Or were you using the money that we were giving you when we were giving you our entire paychecks? Which is it? You know what's crazy? When you read the story about Laban, Laban changed Jacob's wages constantly. That's what it says in the book. Kabeer's done the same thing too. When I first started working there at Walmart, I could start working at Festival, I was getting back 10%. We worked there for a very, very short period of time, and you'll hear Kabeer talk about it in a little bit. The company that plastered his house, he called that man and asked him if he had, was looking for workers and stuff like that. And so I ended up calling that contact. He still set up an interview with me. Because I was in the interview, he liked me, he hired me on. He had me working there for a week or two, and then because how good I was, he decided he wanted to get Ryan too. And you can ask him to verify it, if need be. I can figure out a way to get him, possibly, I want to speak for him. This is what's crazy. When I was working for that company, then I picked up a second job working at Walmart. So I'm literally working from 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving the house, and I'm not getting back home until 11 o'clock at night. And I'm doing that 5 days of the week, and on first days, I'm only working at Walmart. I asked Kabeer to quit. Refused to allow me to quit. Now back then, I was getting 10% of everything that I made. Then it changed to 5% of everything that I made. Then it changed to $50 a month. So what's so backwards about this is you would think the more money that you're bringing towards a group or an organization, the more that they would want to bless you. But the more money I brought in for Straightway Praiseland, the less I got. At first it was 10%, then 5%, then $50 a month. Crazy. You think that motivates somebody to continue to press hard, or you think that discourages them? Why would I even pursue starting a business at all if all I'm going to get is $50 a month? Why not just take the easy job working at Walmart or whatever and just pass the time, bring in a little paycheck, do something easy, right? But that's not in my heart to do because I'm not motivated by money. I don't have a love of money. And everybody who knows me personally knows that. Am I good with money? Yes, I am. How can you say that, Brother Jordan? Well, when I was at Praiseland, whenever the brothers were a little bit short on funds, who'd they go to, Kabeer? Sometimes they would go to you, but a lot of times they didn't want to have to explain themselves. So they'd come to me. And then I could give them a little bit for what they needed. You crazy, man. You crazy. Let's continue.
Now, what were we doing? I'm investing in these guys so that they can be a blessing to the community. That's what we did. We were just all for the purpose of being a blessing to the community that we were a part of, right? And so eventually these guys went from tradesmen to working for people. People say, hey, instead of working for tradesmen, work for me directly. I remember they started with plastering for one company. Then Brother Ryan started doing construction for another guy. And then eventually they learned the trade. And then eventually we was able to start buying trucks and tools and things of that nature. So the guys could start doing business and just start doing construction work on their own. So they were doing, different type of jobs. Like they were doing things like remodeling to framing. And then eventually now we have our own company, right? So
Kabeer, this is why I'm actually concerned about your mental health. Honestly, if you got CTE or something, because what you just said there is not at all what had happened. We started working at Festival. Then we started working for that plastering company, me and Ryan. Then we picked up Walmart as well. Then, because of me and Ryan getting arrested, COVID situation, some crazy guy who wanted to fight me on the job site, who I prayed And Yah heard my prayer, and that guy ended up in a full body cast a week later. Hallelujah. I praise Yah that he has me as the apple of his eye, and he is a jealous L and does not like it when people target me. Hallelujah. So then we went from that. We got laid off from Walmart. Well, not laid off. They just suspended us. We didn't get fired from them, right? Because of the whole Baldwin stuff. The whole, we got arrested from the bringing guns into that children's program, right? Because Kabeer told us to go in there. And Brent ended up firing, or my old boss ended up firing me. Okay? And when he, like, let me give you some context here. That is the only time in my entire life that I have ever been fired. The only time. And what's interesting is this same man calls me a year or two later telling me that the worst decision that he has ever made with his business was getting rid of me. And he wanted to hire me back on with the guys that I had trained with Royal Interiors. Let me ask you this question, Kabeer. Have you ever been called by the NFL and said, us letting you go, Kabeer, was the worst decision that we have ever made. We need you to come back. Have you ever heard that? I mean, me and my old boss, we got a great relationship, a great working relationship. I talked to him this morning. And I'm going to read some of the stuff that he had said because I sent him Kabeer's video. And, yeah. He said, that's 28 minutes of my life that I'm never going to get back. Couldn't believe the craziness that Kabeer was saying. After I got fired from that company, right? Ryan was still working for him. I went back with Tradesman International. While I'm working with Tradesman International, I come into contact with somebody who's working in the union. Because I befriend them and that kind of stuff, they put in a good word for me. I ended up working for the union. I went from doing tradesmen to actually working in the carpenters union. And I'm working 4 days a week, 10-hour days. And then on Friday and on first day, I started doing side jobs with plastering and drywall using my skill. Plus, a lot of times when I'm working for the union, I was driving far away, so I'm getting $100 per diem and all that, right? What happened was I ended up seeing that I was making more doing a side job than I was all week working for the union. So I presented the idea to Kabeer of us starting a business and just going off and doing our own thing. And so he told me to tell the company to allow me to take a couple weeks off and they were going to test it and see how well I did, right? Once that happened, I called 50 or more contractors. I literally found every contractor that was a notable contractor in the Green Bay area, in the Appleton area, the Sturgeon Bay area, and I cold called them. So that way we could get 2 different people that we could work for, and they were going to sub us out so we could get rolling, right? When I started doing the stuff with Royal Interiors, the brothers that were underneath me, I'm plastering pretty much the whole entire house by myself while I'm training them until they got up to speed to actually be something where they could actually be productive and help the job go forward. Ask them how it was. Ask them what I did when I was first part of Royal Interiors. Ask them about my work ethic, what I did. Literally busting my ass on a daily. Not even taking breaks because I couldn't. The job had to be done. I made it happen. But it's funny, you're going to listen here and you're going to hear Kabeer take all the credit for what I accomplished. He's boasting in another man's labors. He's boasting in what I've accomplished. And the thing is Kabeer didn't give me no advice with the business. I never came to Kabeer for advice for pretty much anything. He didn't come up with a business name. He didn't get the tax. He didn't teach me how to bid. He didn't teach me how to do anything that had to do with drywall and plastering. Never been on a job site. Never taught me nothing when it came to anything with construction. I owe all that honor to my old boss. But let's continue with the video. Let's go.
Reframing. And then the other side, we have another side that was doing plastering. Through my connections, there's a guy that used to plaster my house. He plastered my house, and I was able to get a job for the brothers to be able to say these are good workers. They want to learn the business because they had to do a building. So once again, they got the job. So
see, this is why I say that Kabeer is a narcissist. Honestly, 100%. You hear what he just said? Because of my contacts. He's got to have that in there. He's got to be the guy. He's just patting himself on the back. All the stuff that I did and me, and without me, you could do nothing. You ain't Yah, bro. You ain't. And When I think about this is crazy. The man that I told you already. The guy who he supposedly got me a job with, right? All he did was get me an opportunity to get an interview, right? By my own merits, my own stuff. That's where the success and all that came from, right? I want to read to you what my old boss said after he watched Kabeer. Listen to this. So I sent it to him. I said, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. That's it. Didn't prime him, nothing like that. He said, that was 28 minutes of my life that I will never get back. Learning how to play football and running a ministry of control are two very different things. Number two, not one time do I remember seeing him on the job site showing you how to do your job. Number three, Kabeer wanted me to fix my teeth because it would have been a bad image as a leader for him. Number four, you did not leave. You were thrown out. You were the strongest soldier for his ministry. Number four, he did not make you who you are, even though doors were opened. It was your choice to walk through them and work to better yourself with the opportunity. Number five, this is the best thing he said. This is a great quote. The true sign of a humble leader is to not even mention what they had to do with the success of the people they are working to help. Then he says, the first thing that needs to be done is to put his arm in a brace because of all that patting himself on the back, because I'm very sure it's sore. The next thing I would do is get him to a doctor so they can help him get his head out of his ass, because he truly can't see, or all he can truly see is his accomplishments. Then he said, this was very thought out by Kabeer, because anybody who does not know the truth about the situation would feel bad for him because of his heartfelt pouting. He said, you are who you are because of the choices you made in life and what you decided to glean off the people that Yah has put in your path. Self-righteous leaders like him not only turn my stomach, but hurts my heart because I can see in my spirit all the people that are being deceived and manipulated. Now, if I take a little time to chew on what the Antichrist said, I can tell you how I really feel. I guess if Kabeer measures his helpful leadership in the way he describes, then any person that gave you a suggestion or an opportunity is as great or greater than him. What a heretic. What a Pharisee. The true example of an Antichrist. Wow. That's what this man that supposedly Kabeer had gotten me the job and Kabeer had done all this stuff for me, right? That's what he had to say about Kabeer's video. He even knows that Kabeer's full of shit. Let's continue.
I'm doing all of this stuff behind the scenes, putting the guys in an environment where they can just purely learn the skills, not have to worry about paying rent, taking care of any type of responsibility. All they got to do is just learn a skill. How many people you know that get to go learn a skill and not have to worry about putting food on the table or paying rent or paying for medical bills or anything like that? Everything's all taken care of.
Yeah, it's all being taken care of because you're pocketing all of the money that we're making off of us learning the skills, applying ourselves, and being led by the Most High. I give Yah all of the glory for blessing the labor of my hands and for giving me the power and the strength to be able to work. And not only that, to be able to learn the skills, giving me the mind where I can actually learn and grasp these things and then apply them and then take them to another levels. I didn't come from Kabeer. Why does this narcissist want to take credit for what everybody else did? This is crazy.
Now, why am I doing this? Well, just like when I went to San Diego State, I got education. I didn't have to worry about education. I didn't have to worry about housing. All that was taken care of. All I had to do was focus on being a student and being an athlete. That's it. Student athlete. That's it. I didn't have to worry about going to school, playing football, and then going to get a job. We had one guy, I remember, actually had to do that. He literally had to pay for his way for college. So he would go to school, practice football, and then go to the grocery store and work at Ralph's. I remember that. And then eventually the coach said, okay, this guy is serious. He's busted. We didn't think he was going to make it, but he ended up getting a scholarship. So he was a walk-on and ended up earning a scholarship. And everybody was happy for him because they saw him. We would go to the store and we would see him literally at the grocery store. And this dude ended up making it to the NFL.
Yo, he talks about when he was a part of San Diego State University, right? He's like, I didn't get paid. for working there, right? And I was just doing practice, and I would have had to do the schoolwork and stuff like that, right? That's what he says. I looked it up. Do you know what the average cost of a 4-year degree from San Diego State University is? $136,000. Okay, so Kabeer, you're playing a game. You're doing what people go and do in their free time and do in their off time. That's what you're doing. And I looked it up as well. How many hours does the average football player for San Diego State University have to work and work out and all that kind of stuff and do for practice? It said 20 hours. So you're telling me you are putting in 20 hours worth of work, and what you're getting out of it is $136,000 paid for because you're entertaining the public and bringing in the college money. And you're bringing in the college money so that way they can actually give grants to the intelligent people who are actually going to be a contributor to the society. Your doctors, your lawyers, people like that, right? Actual important people. I heard Tim Tebow say this one time. The greatest failure is to be extremely successful at things that do not matter. Playing in the NFL, that shit don't matter. Nobody cares, really. It's a distraction for the general public. Every single football player could die tomorrow. And guess what? America would just keep on rolling. If every single plumber died tomorrow, America's shutting down. If every single carpenter died tomorrow, there'd be a problem. See, those people are actual useful to society and to the world and to other people. But you playing with balls, and you're going to tell me that is discipline and that's motivation. Dude, you're playing a game. I literally go and play basketball for fun. You don't think I want to be like Kobe, just being able to sit in a basketball court and just shoot around all day? Wow, that's hard. That is hard. That's probably way harder than pouring concrete all day. That's probably way harder than laying blocks all day. That's probably way harder than hanging hundreds of sheets of sheetrock in a day. That's probably way harder than that, right? Now the thing is it's valuable because it's a price tag at the end of it. But I guarantee you, a lot of these people who work these trades, these block layers and stuff like that, they work 100 times harder than these NFL people. Damn straight. Daniel Muir even had said it. He said that it was way harder for him laying block and doing that than what he had to do in the NFL. But they want to tout it as it was just so hard. I had to have so much discipline. You know what takes discipline? When you got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go lay blocks or do concrete or some other shitty ass task that nobody wants to do, so that way you can provide for you and your family. And you get pennies on the dollar from what the guy at the top is getting. While you're sitting there raking in millions playing a game. Playing a game. Wow.
So, but anyway, I'm just trying to, draw a picture here. So I'm thinking about the guys, right? They doing this construction. And then you think about, I'm here reading in the book of Deuteronomy 8, and I'm just paraphrasing. If you go and read there, one of the things that Yah talks about is, don't forget when you were humble. Don't forget when you had that. Don't forget the time when I brought you out of the land of Israel, or when he brings you to this good land. His whole warning was, don't forget when you build beautiful houses, your belly is full, you're content, that you forget the commandments of Yah, that you forget about Yah, that you become lifted up or prideful, thinking like, look what I've done, and you forget your humble beginnings. And one thing I noticed that a lot of people that have left the ministry, they've forgotten their first love, they've forgotten their humble beginning. When they first came in there, they didn't have nothing.
See, here he goes, putting himself in the place of Yah again. Saying, when you get your belly full and you become successful and all that, don't forget about Yah. That's what the word says. But you want to steal Yah's glory, dude. Yah will not share his glory with any man. My success and everything that I've accomplished, I owe 100% to Yah. Now, did he use certain individuals to teach me skills? Yes. Did I learn them from you, Kabeer? No. Kabeer, did you teach me how to plaster? Did you teach me how to hang sheetrock? Maybe you taught me how to frame. Maybe you taught me how to set windows. Maybe you taught me how to hang cabinets. What did you teach me, dude? Did you teach me how to hunt? Maybe you taught me how to fish. Surely you taught me how to do agriculture, since our people are agricultural people. Surely it was you doing the teaching. Surely it was. That I learned, and I should honor you and give you all the credit for who I am today. I am going to give honor where honor is due. And I'm not going to worship a man like you. When I think about my old boss, this man is a very honorable man. His mission with his business was, mind you, this guy is a pastor, okay? And he's running a drywall and plaster business. He also lives set apart. He lives in a country, he's got animals, he got a whole like farm set up and all that, right? This man, his whole goal with his business was to take people who had either gotten out of jail or were on hard times and stuff like that, and to pour into them skills, build them up as a man. He's paying them, by the way, and trying to get them to be a better version of themselves. And my old boss used to always say, my goal is to make you better than me. That was his goal. And he did a damn good job at doing that. I mean, and I tried to outwork this guy. This guy's over 50 years old. I mean, he's hanging 5/8 sheets of sheetrock by himself on the ceiling. He's hoisting up a 5/8, 12-foot long sheets of sheetrock up 3 levels of scaffold to give it to me and 2 other guys so that way we could hang it on the ceiling. This man, when I got kicked out from Straightway Praiseland, this man was there for me. He even offered for me to be able to stay with him if I needed to. Praise Yah, I didn't need to. I'm very thankful for him. I'm very thankful for everything that he taught me, because he taught me the skills of the business. He taught me how to do the bids. He taught me how to price things. I mean, most of the stuff you wouldn't necessarily tell an employee because you're afraid that they're going to leave and take all the information that you're giving them and then go and start your own thing. See, my old boss, it seemed like he almost wanted that to happen. And we would have biblical conversations all the time. I mean, he eats clean. I think he keeps the Shabbat. I know he does deliverance. He casts out spirits in Jesus' name. This man is very honorable to me. When I got punched in the face by Elijah, my old boss picked me up, drove an hour to get me, and then drove an hour to drop me back off at Praiseland. He also helped me move, I believe, twice when I first got out. Let me borrow his tools and everything like that to get myself rolling. And what's interesting is, when I was doing Dowell's house, when I was hanging the drywall and the plaster, my old boss called me. And he said, you know, I'm wanting to hang up the hat. I don't want to keep on doing plastering and drywall anymore. I'm wanting to go and do a different career. And he said he'd been praying about it, and all he kept hearing in his spirit was Jordan. Was Jordan. That's what he told me. So he calls me. Mind you, I'm at Straightway the Hub. He calls me, and he said, I'm going to give you all of my contractors, so that way Royal Interiors can have them, right? That's how we got involved with Tycor. And Tycor was going to build, had 700 homes lined up for us in a 4-year time, okay? At an average of $3,500 profit per house. That's $2.5 million. And because Kabeer decided to sabotage Royal Interiors, that money got lost because they no longer wanted to work with us because of Kabeer getting his dirty hands within Royal Interiors. Even though the previous 4 years, it was 100% successful. And when he touts, you know, all this stuff was provided for by the saints and stuff like that, we were making $160,000 profit after we had already paid dental stuff for eyes, getting all the work equipment, the clothing, the shoes, all that other stuff, gas, insurance, getting the cars and all that kind of stuff fixed, the maintenance. After all those expenses, we had $160,000 profit. Where did the money go, Kabeer? Where did the money go? And you are so stingy that you got upset at the fact that I was trying to get us to get a bonus there's 4 brothers with Royal Interiors. I wanted to set up a bonus system where we got 1/4% of what we made. I'm not even asking for 1%. I'm asking for 1/4 of 1%. And the only way that we could get it is if we made over $160,000 profit. Well, when we did Dowell's house, we were gone for 8 weeks, and Dowell didn't pay us for doing the work. And you know what it says in Jeremiah 22 about building your house and not giving people wages. There's a woe unto you. And because of that, we didn't hit our $160,000 quota, so we didn't even get a bonus that year. How discouraging is that? When we are busting our ass, You used to tell me your guys' paychecks and stuff that are coming in is what's putting food on the table. That's why you'd get upset when there would be delays between checks. And then you blasted me in front of the whole community, and you had said, oh, Jordan hasn't profited at all this year. This is the year that they kicked us out. He passed around the paper and stuff like that. It said that we had spent $100,000 and all we had received is $100,000. Right around there. I think we might have even been in the negative by like a couple $100 on paper, right? In all actuality, we'd already done $200,000 worth of work. So we had $100,000 in profit in 4 months. Now, my old boss thinks that Kabeer was jealous of me, and that was the reason why he was trying to sabotage Royal Interiors, because he's seen how much the Most High was blessing me, right? You look at my wife, it says, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and has found favor of Yah. There's few women, even a part of Straightway, that are better women than my woman, who are more of what the book says how a woman's supposed to be. See, Dowell will come out here and blast all these people who have supposedly left Straightway and fallen away. If you look at my woman, she still looks exactly the same. We're still keeping the commandments and being holy. In fact, I'm actually more set apart where I'm at right now than Kabeer is at Praiseland. He's closer to neighbors than I am. I'm way out in the country. Closest town for me, is like 20 minutes away with a population of like 400. And the closest town where they even have like a Walmart, that's like 30 minutes away. Not only that, there is more saints that I know in my little area than are at Praiseland. I literally have more people around me who keep the Torah than I did at Praiseland. And you're going to say that I'm not in a set apart environment, that I've lowered my standard. I've gotten better. I am actually more set apart. I'm in a better area than what Kabeer and Praiseland ever had to offer for me. I am. Honestly, I can't even go to Walmart or the town that I live close to without seeing women in head coverings and women with skirts on and that kind of stuff. I see it every time I go into town. That's how many believers and stuff are in the area that I'm at. Now, do they all believe exactly the same as I do? No. But at least they're striving to be holy. I hear dumbass Bud say stuff like, these people aren't even working on sanctification anymore. What are you talking about, dude? Most of us who left Straightway are still saying we're trying to keep the laws, commandments, and statutes of Yah. We're trying to keep what it's ascribed in the book. Now, if there's stuff that came from Straightway itself and Dowell's weird interpretations of certain verses, some people, they don't agree with it anymore, those customs, and they stop doing them. Other people not. Will they end up in the pit for it? I doubt it. I mean, David made it into the kingdom and he committed adultery, and you think people are going to hell because they ain't wearing a head cover no more. That's so funny to me. Now, I still think you should wear it, like I've said before. Let's get back to the video.
And then when they leave with these skills, they leave with nice teeth. Some people weren't even a part of the ministry. It was just visiting the ministry. They come in and they get a little something out of here. They were given things, skills, opportunity to be a better man, to be stronger, to think, whatever they came in. But they came in and left with something better.
They came in and left with something better. I think most people who left Straightway Praiseland, they did not leave in a better situation than what they started off with. Some of them, maybe yes. Others, nah. You look at, what Kabeer's saying is they gained skills, they gained knowledge, they gained all these things, right? They were in a perfect environment for all that kind of stuff, right? Okay. Kabeer, I want to know this. If you were working for the NFL when you were, for 7 years, right? Millions of dollars, that's what you had, right? Well, what if instead of that, you worked for the NFL and they gave you the mansion that you're in, they let you live in there, they let you use your vehicle, they gave you a phone, they paid for your food, they did all that kind of stuff, right? Provided all that kind of stuff. You got to enjoy all of it. Then, when you stop working for the NFL, all of a sudden, you got to leave that house. That was the Green Bay Packers property. So you don't got a house. You don't got a car. And they gave you $800. Thank you for helping us out. Here's $800. But be grateful. You learned skills. You learned stuff. Would you even joined the NFL if it was that way? Would you have? Because I get why you're playing when you're in college. You're getting a free ride. You're getting a free college education. You're essentially getting $136,000 for playing a game. This is what's crazy. This mindset. And you think that if I wasn't a part of Praiseland that I wouldn't have developed those same skills? You don't think that? Because there's people all in the world who develop these same skills who don't need to be in the environment that you're in, and who make a lot of money and are way better off than a lot of people who are part of Straightway right now. I've known them personally. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, think about when I first got out and I was still doing stuff in Green Bay, and I had an old friend working with me. Well, I mean, this guy was making $2,000 a week working with me. Just to put stuff in perspective. But you want me to give you the credit. It's so sad. It's so sad, Kabeer. It's so pitiful. You didn't teach me those skills. Why should I give you the credit, dude? You didn't provide the stuff in your community. The money I brought in provided for that. How much money did I actually bring into the community? How much? I know it's a lot. A lot. Not only that, I taught the brothers underneath me the skills of plastering and all that kind of shit. I did. I can say that. I taught them those things. They learned it from me. Where did I learn my skills from? I had to actually go outside of the community to learn the skills from the people in the world who were doing it, because I couldn't learn it from you. You didn't teach it to me. At least in college, they teach you all the stuff. You come out with a degree. What's the teachings that I'm supposedly getting from you that's supposedly making me so dang successful? Bro, stop taking Yah's glory. Stop it.
But then these same people come in and talk about how they were used, how they were treated like slaves. It's utterly amazing. Like, I'm thinking about me all the years when I played college ball, high school. I never did I ever think I was a slave. I was to this day, I'm appreciative of what I learned in college, what I learned in high school, Pop Warner. And there was a lot of stuff I was doing and I didn't get paid. Didn't get paid. Just like there's people that did the same thing that I did and didn't make it to the NFL. At least I made it to the NFL.
I believe he just lied right here, because he's told all of Praiseland before in meetings that he's gotten in arguments in the locker room before because he was calling his, I believe it was the general manager or one of the managers, his master. So he definitely did believe he was in like a slave type environment when he was a part of those groups. I think he honestly did. Maybe he didn't like sit there and, contemplate that in your mind. But when you were playing in high school or when you were playing in college, Kabeer, did you ever have to sign a covenant that you're giving away everything that you're going to make and then everything that you're ever going to have in the future? All your inheritance and future inheritance? Did you ever, any private property, anything that you could ever own, did you sign a covenant that would do that? Would you sign a covenant if the NFL did that? But every single thing that you were ever going to own and everything that you had owned, you're going to have to give that through. That's what I don't understand about Straightway is they'll say, give all, sell all that kind of stuff. Okay, I've given all, I've sold all, I've done all that stuff. Am I allowed to keep my money now? I've already fulfilled what Jesus said. Now can I have the 100-fold in this lifetime? How am I supposed to get 100-fold in this lifetime with the way that Straightway is set up? I mean, I just heard Dowell, he made a video talking about the whole American debt system. And he believes that his community structure, he says that is the solution. If you look at how I've been doing this for the last 30 years, you will understand that this is the solution for the whole debt system problem, right? This is so idiotic, like borderline retarded. Because, Dowell, if any person served on your community for 20 or 30 years, at the end of 20 or 30 years, did they own a car? Did they own a house? Did they own anything? I want to know. At least if you go out in the world and you go and get a mortgage after 30 years, some people do a 15-year mortgage, other people do a 30-year mortgage. After 30 years, at least you have a house that is now yours. You could sell it. You could get your money back and get your investment back. It probably went up in value too over the time it took you to pay it off. So you might not have lost any investment at all. You probably have a vehicle. Yeah, I think about the middle-class people of the world. They got houses, they got boats, they got vehicles, they got all this kind of stuff. And Dowell, what do the people that are around you own? Nothing. You people who've been at the hub, you don't own anything. If Dowell kicks you out tomorrow, you ain't got shit. Nothing. All that time, all that investment for nothing. While Elder Becker was there serving you all that time, did he own the house that he was at? Maybe he owned the truck that he was driving around. Maybe he owned that. So how are you supposed to receive 100-fold in this lifetime, houses and all this other kind of stuff, if you can't even own a house within the Straightway structure? And they want to say they're following Jesus. You can't actually follow Jesus with the structure that they have, because they block the blessings. When you think about the parable of the talents, I've noticed this within Straightway. Dowell and Kabeer will preach the parable of the talents, and they will put themselves in the position of the master giving the talents, when the master giving the talents is Yah. You put yourself in the position of Yah, and you think you're Yah to the people who are beneath you, that you're the one giving the talents and expecting an increase. You have forgotten that you are fellow servants. You are somebody who got talents just like how I got talents. Now you want to convince everybody who is around you to give you their talents, so that way you can use their talents to build a giant mansion here on earth, to have all these sports cars and build your kingdom here on earth. And then you can present, yeah, look at all these talents that I got. Oh yeah, where did you get those talents from, son? Oh, I convinced all these people to give it to me. Why did you do that? I wanted them to be responsible with the blessings that they had, so that way I could reward them, and I could give them, I could let them get the reward of what they have sown. They're entitled to reap what they've sown, and you've taken away that responsibility from them. What is he going to say to those servants who decided, opposed to using their talent and applying themselves to get more talents, they gave their talents and what they had, because talents is money in this parable, they gave it to this one man who had 4. What is he going to say to them? Something to think about. Let's continue in the video. All right, sorry. Before I get to the video, I want to talk about this other point that I was thinking about when it comes to Dowell, that last video that he made, talking about the debt system, right? If his solution is how his community is set up, what would it look like if all of America ran that way? Okay? So no American owned their house, but the government gave them a place to live. No American owned their vehicles or owned anything. The government owned and controlled everything, right? They would give you your little $50 per month per person in your household to use on whatever you wanted. You know, if you wanted to do something, you had to ask the government for permission for pretty much everything, right? And you better obey them or all like other kind of stuff, or they're going to kick you out of America and send you to Canada or send you to some other country, Mexico or something, right? If they did that, do you know what I'm describing there? That's socialism and capitalism, especially in the fact of, if people are only getting $50 a month, why would I want to become a doctor? Why would I put in all that work to become a doctor? I'm going to get the same result and reward as if I was just the garbage man, or if I was just stocking shelves. That's the reason why these societies always fail, because the motivation is stripped from them, because it's all about, well, what the government tells you to do. So then how does the government motivate people to do the dirty jobs, the jobs nobody wants to do? Well, they're not going to motivate you by giving you more substance for doing the job. They're going to force you to do it. They're going to command you to do it, which is exactly what they do in Praiseland and in Straightway. You don't get to choose what house you're going to live in. You get told which house you're going to live in. You don't really get to choose what duties and all that kind of stuff you're going to do. You get told. I don't even know if you can choose what job you want to pursue, or if you just get told. Imagine if the United States government, the whole government, functioned that way. You think there'd be a revolution? You think people would be okay with that? Everybody's just relying on Big Brother? I mean, I think that's probably why we're getting to this AI age where robots are going to do everything for us, so that way we can just sit around and, we have all of our needs met. A utopia. Dowell, you have a false utopia that you've created where you're at. And I know when you say that the solution is to do what I've done, what you're saying is, if you want to be successful like me, you need to be a pastor. Then you need to convince everybody around you. They need to give all in order for them to be Yeshua's disciple. And then not only that, to give all to become his disciple, they need to continuously give all to you, so that way you can amass all these houses, the lands, and everything like that. It's all in your name. It's all in your name. So you got your success off the backs of all these other people, and you being a con artist. That's how you did it. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you in your video. If you want to be what you call successful in the world, one way to do it is be a con shyster like you, coercing the people and using the word against them, so that way you can have your kingdom on earth. So that way you can have all these benefits and luxuries and stuff like that, and just have a revolving door of saints that you're going to screw over and abuse. Sad.
But I appreciate it. But then you have people that didn't make it to the NFL, but they end up going off and doing other things, selling. I know one guy that sold cars, another guy, real estate and stuff. But the skills that we learned, the working as a team, hard work, not giving up, those things allowed us to be better employees or owners or whatever we get in life. It helped us. We gained something. So even though it looked like we didn't get money, but we got skills. We came in as young men and we came out as stronger, disciplined men. And so when you see these people talking about the ministry, you can see how gratitude dies. They forget. They don't tell you what they gained. They just tell you what they didn't get.
See, here he goes again with this whole, these people are just ungrateful. Kabeer, I don't think I've seen a video of you making how you're grateful for the stuff that I've come and contributed to you. You didn't do all this shit by yourself. I made you look damn good when I was a part of that ministry. Damn good by my work ethic and stuff like that. People were calling me on how to do a business, not you. I mean, shit, bro, when there was deliverance going on, I was the guy called all of the time to lead the deliverance and to help you. I ain't trying to boast about myself. I'm just telling you what I was a part of and what I was doing. My fruits speak for themselves. I can't even tell you how many times I've cast out devils out of people and helped them and all this other kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You're crazy, dude. I remember when I left and I was like, why are you only giving me $1,200? Which you didn't give me. You gave me $800, you liar. And, you said, well, we calculated it out, it'd be $3,000 a month in rent in order to be there. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many people are living in Suite 3 when I was there? It was me and my family. And then 6 other brothers. So 7 men total, living in 3 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms, a kitchen, and a living room, right? So you're telling me between all those people, you calculated it would be $21,000 a month to rent out that basement, Suite 3, those 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. You think it's $21,000 with all the saints that are there? You think it's $3,000 a month, bro? When I left your place, well, you actually kicked me out, even though you say I left. I didn't leave. You kicked me out, wickedly kicked me out. I didn't get a vehicle. I came in with a vehicle. I didn't get to leave with a vehicle, and my apartment cost me $1,200, a little over $1,200. So after like electrical and all that kind of stuff, it's like, bro, $1,500. How much you think I'm spending on food with my whole family? I mean, bro, we're not even spending $500 a week on food. This guy is crazy. How do you even come up with this number, bro? And it's because you've always been sheltered. You've never actually lived really in the real world without money or anything like that. You don't even know what it's like. You went from high school straight to college, where you got all the stuff paid for and everything provided for you, straight to the NFL, made millions and came out. You never experienced what it's like. You know what I'm saying? You don't got the same experience as me, bro. You don't. And that's why I say you don't know me. You don't even know my past or anything like that. And your speech tells me that. I know yours. I know your testimony, bro. And you're still so damn bitter at Eileen, bro. You've been talking about that woman for 8 freaking years and can't let that shit go. Then maybe that's why you only gave me $800, because you're still bitter at her, and because you couldn't take out her aggression on her, maybe just take it out on me instead. Sad, man. It is sad. And you have been enslaving the saints. With your covenant document, that is a straight up slave contract, and you know it. You know it is, Kabeer. And because you led into captivity you will go. And guess what America's captivity system is? There's still slavery in America, right? 13th Amendment. Maybe it's the 18th. I think it's 13th. I don't know. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Right? But slavery's still legal as long as somebody committed a crime, right? So what do you think's going to happen to you if you're not in the right standing with Yah? You think he's going to send you back into slavery like he's always done with his people? It seems like Israel cannot get out of the mindset of old Israel. They keep repeating the same mistakes of the past. And it seems like whenever Israel's wicked, it's because of the leadership. So when you guys end up behind bars, just know that's the slavery you're being put into. So that way, hopefully you can repent. That's all of our goal. We hope that you can see yourself and repent, because you are blinded to yourself. You want to call yourself like Job? You haven't learned the lessons of Job, Kabeer. Job was self-righteous in his own eyes. You're still that way. Job learned his lesson. You haven't. So maybe Yah's got to take more away from you. Maybe Yah's got to bring you down a darker, deeper path in order for you to get it. And I hope you do. I really hope that you do. I'll come visit you in jail. I will, Kabeer. And don't forget, you were an accomplice to Daniel Mear's crimes. You were. So if he ends up going to jail for his thing, don't think that they're not going to come for you, Kabeer. And guess what? They're going to see you as a flight risk. Don't think you're going back over to Africa. I hope you enjoyed it over there. It's probably, I would think it's probably going to be last time over there, if I was to guess. Maybe not. we'll see. Yah is a patient Yah. He gives plenty of people time to repent. So hopefully you repent, come to your senses, so that way that doesn't happen. But if the judgment must come, may Yah's will be done. Let's continue.
They totally missed the whole point of what they got. Now they go in there, they're building, they're doing things, and then they'll tell you, where'd you learn that? See, when I was at the Green Bay Packers, you say, Kabeer Miller from San Diego State. That's what they say, from San Diego State. They're telling you this is where he came from. Or when I was in college, it says, Kabeer Miller from Crenshaw High School. So you know that this guy came from somewhere.
Okay, Kabeer. I mean, see what he's doing again? He's sitting there saying, like, these people, they're out doing all this stuff now, and yet they're not going to give credit to who they learned all this stuff from, right? I honestly think that Kabeer is upset because I'm doing well out here, and he expected me just to have a horrible-ass time and come back crying to him. I think that's what he genuinely thought was going to happen. But the Most High, you can't stop what he's doing. You can't stop the blessings of him pouring them down on me because of the sacrifice and everything that I've done since I've known him. Been following Jesus for over 10 years. Sacrificing. Living the book. Striving to be holy. And I'm glad that the Most High is blessing me now. I mean, it's just so peaceful right now. All I hear is birds chirping. Sitting out here with the windows down. Beautiful environment. But Kabeer, if you want me to give honor where honor's due of how I'm able to do all this stuff, well, I learned it from H.J. Martin. I learned it from Alpha and Omega Drywall and Plaster. I learned my skills from, what was the other company I worked for? Tradesman International. Managerial skills from different grocery stores and stuff like that, where they put me in a manager position. I learned a lot of stuff there, right? So let me give honor to where honors due of the people who taught me this stuff. Where'd you learn deliverance from, Brother Jordan? Well, I learned a lot of it from Frank Hammond, from Derek Prince, from what's that guy's name? Henry Wright, the Moody's. All those books that I brought up before in my stuff, Win Worley. I learned a lot of my deliverance and stuff from them. And then got other stuff from psychologists who call things complexes or more disorders. They're talking about the same thing. They just use different language, right? So that's why I can say that I learned that stuff, how to cast out devils, how to do miracles, stuff like that. And you're like, no, you learned that from Dowell. Well, I'm just giving credit to where Dowell learned it from, because Dowell learned it from all of those Christians who were doing it long before Dowell was doing it. So let's give honor to where it actually goes for. You know what I mean? Frank Hammond had great revelations when it came to rejection, bitterness, rebellion, all that kind of stuff. And so when Dowell talks about it, he's just regurgitating what they have said. So why don't I just go to the source? Why don't I learn it from where Dowell learned it from? But then you want me to say, you learned all this stuff straight up from here. No, I didn't. Most of the time, Yah was just putting different stuff on me. I would be studying my stuff. Yah would be giving me different revelations, stuff within books, stuff like that. That was learning. Now, did Yah use other people that were around me to influence me and help build me up or teach me different things? Of course. But am I going to give Kabeer false flowers? Hell no. Hell no. Kabeer treated me like shit. And then he still wants me to come out here and to say how great and beautiful. You've forgotten all the good that I did for you. Well, the bad outweighs the good, Kabeer. It truly does. And when you think about it, it says in Sirach, the most wicked person on earth is a miser. That's what it says. And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Certain translate, that's what it says. And it says that they aren't even generous to themselves. They won't even enjoy what they have themselves. And you think that these people are going to be generous towards you? Nah. Like I said before, I've never met somebody as stingy, as critical-minded, as prideful, as narcissistic, as stubborn as Kabeer Miller. I mean, shit, we're getting in trouble with the law. It's like, dude, you don't even apologize, man. I freaking went to jail because of your decisions, dude. And if I didn't give you the scriptures talking about how we should settle this out of court and stuff like that, because if you go all the way and take it to the thing, I probably would have ended up in jail opposed to getting on probation because of you. That's why I stopped asking you for advice, bro. You know what I mean? You're not going to get advice about health from a super fat guy. You're just not. Right? You're not going to go to somebody who's greedy and ask them about giving. You're just not. You're not going to go to a lazy person and talk to them about advice about work. You're just not. So when I see Kabeer, first marriage with Eileen, failed. Children, none of them sticked around. None of them even come back. And then you get Bree, and Bree's nothing but a bitch and a problem. terrible attitude, all that kind of stuff. So you think I'm going to get marriage advice from you? Hell no. You think I'm going to get advice on how to raise my children? Well, my children are more advanced than your children. And in fact, my wife is actually teaching your children in homeschool. I mean, shit, my son was potty trained by like 2 years old. Your son's sitting there still pissing himself 4 or 5 years old on the couch. That's the thing, is I'm not looking at you as an example because you're not that good of an example. Now, all the people might think so, but I ain't deceived, bro. You can deceive some of the people some of the time, but you can't deceive all the people all the time. Can't deceive people, Dowell, anymore. The gig is up. Enjoy it while it lasts. Fill up your cup. Enjoy this freedom that you have right now, Dowell. That you think that you have. Enjoy it. Enjoy it while you have it, Kabeer. Enjoy it. But you saints who are underneath these people, you might want to distance yourself lest you end up going to the same judgment that they get. Let's continue. The last of this video, I'm going to be done. I apologize this video is so long. There's just so much that needs to be said to refute this demented, delusional-minded person. I mean, I wonder if he's been given over to a strong delusion. And that's why it doesn't matter what I say, what any of these people say, and it's showing you in the word where it says this, you just can't hear it. You're just blind. But, as what it says, when you worship an idol, you become like the idol. And idols can't think, idols can't see, idols can't hear, right? Cold-hearted. You become like an idol because you've made your idol Dowell. You know, and it talks about in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, and I encourage you to read it, Kabeer, that who is Paul? Who is Apollos? Right? Did not one plant and another water? But guess who gives the increase? Yeah. He deserves all the glory at the end of the day. Not you. He's not going to share his glory with anybody. Yep. And when you look at that, it says, who is Paul? Or who is the man who waters? Is he anything? No, he's nothing. Who's the man who plants this? He's nothing. But Yah is everything. So I don't give a shit. You followed this person, this coach, all this other kind of stuff. I'm giving glory to Yah at the end of the day. I don't worship man. You do. I mean, bro, look at the transcript on your own video, Kabeer. You mentioned Yah maybe 1 or 2 times. Jesus you only mentioned once. And Straightway and Dowell way over 20 times. Just praising these men. Sad, man. I am glad I'm not like you. A kiss ass and a man pleaser. That's what you are. But my focus is to please the one who has called me. Yep. Let's go.
But then you look at these guys, they'll tell you brother so-and-so, but they'll tell you Straightway Praise Land. That's where you got skills from. These people got their skills, or so-and-so, brother so-and-so, so-and-so, Straightway Truth Ministry. I would not be able to say that I would be the man, I'm an elder. The stuff that I've learned here at Straightway Truth Ministry and continue to learn. There's no way that I can say that I've learned this without mentioning my time here. And I pray it'll be forever until the day I die, but the time that I've spent under the teachings of Straightway Truth Ministry of Pastor Charles Dowell Jr. So I'm just sitting here just thinking like, man, times have changed. The generation of living people are so ungrateful. And how people can just have a spirit of entitlement. They feel like somebody owed them something.
Okay. What he just said here, these people got a spirit of entitlement. Just take, right? That's you, Kabeer. All you did was take from me. I've given you way more than you have ever given me. I can honestly say that. And you had us read this book called Gimme Getters and Go Getters. You're a gimme getter, dude. Your whole business is actually around the fact that you convince people to give you money so you can invest it from them and get stuff off the top. I've seen Wolf of Wall Street. I know the evil-hearted people when I see them, bro. And in that environment, that job, yeah, there's a lot of greedy people. Misers. Most wicked people on earth. Kabeer, you're entitled. You think that you can just command and demand me and I'm just supposed to do all this stuff for you and I'm just supposed to lay down and I'm supposed to, allow you to abuse me and talk to me any kind of way and you're entitled to all of my money, all that kind of stuff. Well, if you provided all this stuff for me, I should have never given you any money. I should have just been able to keep it myself, right? You provided it. No, you didn't. You bought stuff with the money I gave you. That's really what it is. And if you want to say, no, you never made enough money to provide for the stuff that you were consuming while you were at the ministry. Bullshit. I'm doing it now. I know what the cost is. Ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. Kabeer, you need to repent. You need to repent, especially for talking about me in an evil way, bro. Especially not having all the details, not even knowing all that kind of stuff. Dude, you really just need to shut up, man. Straight up. Shut up. You're better off, man. Because every word that you speak is going to go before the king in judgment. And guess what? I'm praying because you rewarded me evil for the good I showed you. You want to talk about you helping me with my teeth, what, 8 years ago? And now you want to hold that over my head. I did this one good thing for you. Yeah, well, how many good things did I do? Let's put it on a list. Let's put the stuff you did for me, and I'll do the stuff that I did for you, and we'll see what weighs in the balance. Because you're going to be found to be lacking. And you know it, dude. Your worst fear is being found out that you are not as competent as you think you are to be in the position that you are in. And guess what? Everything's going to be revealed, right? The stuff you said in the dark, it's going to come to light. All the stuff that you guys did in the dark is coming to light. The amount of illegal activities is just wild. Absolutely wild. I mean, Dowell gets all gung-ho happy seeing this stuff with Rufus if he's going to, get charged or, this and that, right? Why doesn't he get that so gung-ho to see if Daniel Muir is going to get felonies? Because he's got a lot of felonies, jail time that he's looking at. I think you need to be concerned with the people that are in your own ministry who are dealing with criminal stuff before you start pointing the finger out there. Isn't that the thing? Clean your own house before you start trying to clean up the world? Well, maybe you should clean house first. Maybe you should deal with the members that are part of your ministry and make sure that they're not breaking laws, because they are. Sad.
That's the same thing we did in Israel. We were little in our own eyes. We were small, nothing. Yah chose us. And then all of a sudden he builds us up. And then all of a sudden we become prideful and lifted up and think that, look at me. Look what I've done. Even today, I can't even say that. Even after all that I've accomplished, I'm still humbled that the Most High Yah will bless me the way he has blessed me. Bless me.
Okay, he says this religious rhetoric right now. But honestly, if you listen to this whole video that he just said, all he pretty much is talking about is himself and his own accomplishments and what he's done. You know what Jesus said? He who speaks of himself seeks his own glory. That's what it says. Now, Jordan, you're talking about yourself in the midst of this. Yeah, I'm trying to bring clarity to stuff. I don't blast out every single time that I've helped somebody with deliverance or healing or any of this other kind of stuff, because I want to set up my kingdom in heaven, because that's where my heart is. And that's where my treasure is. And that's why my heart is there. That's why I can speak so boldly on this thing. I really don't give a shit what you people think, because you guys are deceived. The wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. And that's why you don't understand my speech. But you are like your father, the devil. And you killed all the prophets of old. Israel did that. That's Israel's record. And Israel has taught the nations to do evil. They're worse than the nations. And you think because you got melanation in your skin and you can be natural Israel, that you're going to make it. But we know what the word says. A lot of the people who are Abraham's seed are going to be thrust out. And Yah's going to put his hand to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south. And he's going to bring in the Gentiles, because they actually appreciate Yah and give glory to Yah, not man. I ain't going to worship no man. You're a man worshiper, Kabeer. 100%. And the biggest man that you worship is yourself. And the second biggest person you worship is Dowell. Kabeer, you've been nothing but look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at all this shit I've done. But then I think about it, dude, what skills have you got since you've been a part of Straightway? Because you hear Dowell say, these people lived at the hub and they didn't gain any skills. Well, you're a bad leader then, because you should have been teaching them, Dowell. Aren't you supposed to be feeding them with knowledge and understanding and getting these people where they want to be? Why aren't you teaching them the skills, right? But I've noticed something with these people. They love to take the credit for your success, but they will never take responsibility for your failures. True leadership, like my old boss had said, true humble leadership doesn't seek to boast themselves. I mean, I said it earlier. I'm not going to butcher the quote. Let's go.
I'm still thankful for all the people. I couldn't even talk. Like the way I see some of these people talking about Pastor Dowell, myself, I even look at the age gap. It made me look at let me look at the age gap between me and my high school coach. It's literally the same thing. And the way this brother talks about me, I wouldn't even dream to talk about Coach Gary.
How old was Jesus when he was rebuking the scribes, the Pharisees, the chief priests, and the elders of the people? And isn't an elder somebody who's considered over 50 years old? And Jesus was 30 years old, between 30 and 33. I'm 31. So I'm following my master. I'm rebuking the scribe. I'm rebuking the Pharisee. I'm rebuking the priest, and I'm rebuking the elder of the people who are off. You guys are not. You guys are teaching the doctrines and the commandments of Yah by a commandment and doctrine of men. I butchered that verse. It's in Isaiah.
Like that, my high school coach. I think there's a 17 or 18 year difference between me and my high school coach. And to this day, I still refer to him as Coach Gary. No matter how much I've made in my life, I've gone on and played in the NFL, Hall of Famer. To this day, I will still say Coach Gary. And I give a lot of credit to what Coach Gary did, because he was there when in the beginning. He opened the door for me in the NFL. He's the one that opened the door for me for college. And then that college opened the door for me, gave me an opportunity in the NFL. Because Ted Turner used to be, I'm just thankful, just very grateful. But you see the people who's left this ministry, they're forgotten.
All right, that's enough of him. It's enough of that video. And he just kind of rambles on for a little bit longer. I mean, the last thing that he just said is, these people have forgotten. They've forgotten, right? Well, Kabeer, you've forgotten that your people were once slaves in Egypt, and that's why you've enslaved the saints, right? You've forgotten your first love. I haven't forgotten mine. I can still remember the day that Yah came in my life. I can still remember when I received the Holy Spirit. I still give Yah honor and credit and glory for everything that he's ever done for me in my life. It's been only by him that I am still here. And without him, I can do nothing. Kabeer, you want to say, without you, we could do nothing. You're a liar, dude. You need to repent. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. Sorry that it was so long. It's kind of been a thing in the making, in the coming, I guess, really. I hope you guys can see the delusion that Kabeer is under. The straight up delusion. And the same thing with Dowell, is like their system is not going to be functional for long-term success, except for the leadership. Yeah, they're going to get all the benefits. And that's why they keep pushing what they're pushing. Pyramid scheme, at the end of the day. Con men, right? There's no honor among thieves. That's why these people are so dishonorable to everybody. So much hate in their ministry. So much hate. It's crazy. Anyways, bless y'all. Hope you enjoy your week. And Shabbat's coming up soon. Hope you enjoy your Shabbat as well. Anyways, bless y'all.